What if I told you that the company now worth over $800 billion once came within hours of complete bankruptcy? That its founder was sleeping on the factory floor, living off ramen noodles, and literally couldn't afford to pay his employees? This is the unbelievable story of Tesla's rise from a tiny garage startup to reshaping the entire automotive industry forever. Most people think Tesla started with Elon Musk. They're wrong. The real story begins in 2003 with two engineers who had a crazy idea that would change everything. Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning were sitting in a coffee shop when they made a bet that would either make them billionaires or completely bankrupt. They wagered they could beat every major car manufacturer in the world at their own game, using technology that barely existed. Here's what blew my mind when I discovered this. These two guys had never built a car before. They had never worked for a car company. They didn't even have a factory. All they had was a laptop, some basic sketches, and an obsession with proving everyone wrong. The automotive industry laughed at them. Detroit executives called them delusional dreamers who would be crushed within months. But Eberhard and Tarpenning had something the big car companies didn't. They understood that electric vehicles weren't just about being environmentally friendly. They realized electric motors could deliver instant torque, incredible acceleration, and performance that would make gas-powered supercars look slow. This wasn't about building a golf cart for tree huggers. This was about creating the fastest, most advanced vehicles on Earth. The name Tesla came from Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor who pioneered alternating current electricity. But choosing that name almost killed the company before it even started. They had to negotiate with a guy who owned the trademark and wanted an insane amount of money for it. Every dollar they spent on legal battles was a dollar they couldn't spend on actually building cars. Meanwhile, they were working out of a tiny garage in Silicon Valley, literally building prototype batteries with hand tools. Picture this: two guys in their 30s, surrounded by laptop computers, scattered car parts, and battery cells spread across folding tables. They were trying to solve problems that had stumped automotive engineers for decades, and they were doing it with a budget smaller than what most people spend on a new SUV. The breakthrough moment came when they realized they didn't need to invent new battery technology. Instead, they could take thousands of existing laptop batteries and connect them together in a way nobody had ever tried before. It sounds simple, but the engineering challenges were enormous. How do you prevent thousands of batteries from overheating? How do you make sure they all charge and discharge evenly? How do you keep them safe if one battery fails? This is where the story gets really interesting. Eberhard and Tarpenning spent months testing different configurations, literally building battery packs in their garage and running experiments day and night. They were burning through their personal savings, maxing out credit cards, and working 18-hour days. Their families thought they had lost their minds. But then something magical happened. Their prototype actually worked. They had created a battery pack that could power a car for over 200 miles on a single charge. In 2003, that was considered impossible. Electric vehicles at the time could barely travel 50 miles before running out of power. Tesla had just quadrupled the industry standard using laptop batteries and garage engineering. Now they faced their next massive challenge: building an actual car. They decided to start with a sports car, not because they wanted to make expensive toys for rich people, but because of pure economics. Sports car buyers were willing to pay premium prices for cutting-edge technology. Those high profit margins would fund development of cheaper cars for everyone else. They partnered with Lotus, a British company that built lightweight sports car chassis. The plan was simple: take a Lotus frame, strip out the gas engine, and pack it with Tesla's revolutionary battery system. Simple in theory, nightmare in execution. Everything had to be redesigned. The weight distribution was completely different. The cooling systems had to be rebuilt. Even the basic electrical wiring had to be reimagined. Here's where Elon Musk enters the story. and it's not how most people think. Musk didn't found Tesla. He wasn't even involved in the early development. But in 2004, when Tesla desperately needed money to continue development, Musk stepped in as the lead investor. He put in $6.5 million of his own money and became chairman of the company. Musk's involvement changed everything, but not always in good ways. He pushed for more ambitious goals, more advanced features, and faster timelines. While this vision ultimately made Tesla legendary, it also nearly destroyed the company multiple times. Musk demanded perfection in every detail, from the door handles to the sound system. He wanted Tesla's first car to be unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The Tesla Roadster was finally unveiled in 2006, and it shattered every expectation. This wasn't some compromise electric vehicle that sacrificed performance for efficiency. The Roadster could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds. It could travel over 240 miles on a single charge. It looked like a supercar and performed like one too. But here's what nobody talks about. Tesla had no idea how to mass-produce cars. Building one perfect prototype is completely different from building hundreds of vehicles that all work perfectly. They discovered this the hard way when customer orders started pouring in. Every Roadster was essentially hand-built, with engineers solving new problems for each individual car. Production delays mounted. Costs spiraled out of control. Customers who had paid deposits were furious about waiting years for their cars. Tesla was burning through money faster than they could raise it. By 2008, the company was weeks away from bankruptcy. Musk was personally broke, having invested everything he had into Tesla and SpaceX. This is the part of the story that gives me chills. Musk was literally sleeping on the Tesla factory floor, surviving on vending machine food, and working around the clock to save the company. He was calling every investor he knew, begging for emergency funding. Most Silicon Valley investors thought electric cars were a dead end. The 2008 financial crisis had made everyone terrified to invest in risky startups. On Christmas Eve 2008, Tesla received a last-minute investment that saved the company. Literally hours before they would have been forced to shut down, new funding came through. Musk later said he was so stressed during this period that he lost significant weight and developed health problems that took years to recover from. But surviving bankruptcy was just the beginning of Tesla's challenges. They still needed to prove they could build more than expensive sports cars. The automotive industry was watching, waiting for them to fail. Traditional car companies had started their own electric vehicle programs, using their massive resources and decades of manufacturing experience. Tesla's answer was the Model S, a luxury sedan that would prove electric vehicles could be practical for everyday driving. But developing the Model S required building an entirely new factory, hiring thousands of employees, and solving manufacturing problems that had never been encountered before. They bought an abandoned Toyota factory in California and spent years converting it into a state-of-the-art electric vehicle production facility. The Model S development process was brutal. Tesla engineers were working 7 days a week, sleeping in the factory, and debugging problems in real time. Musk was personally involved in every major decision, often scrapping months of work if he wasn't satisfied with the results. He demanded that the Model S interior feel more like a luxury spaceship than a traditional car. The centerpiece of the Model S was a massive touchscreen that controlled almost everything in the vehicle. This was revolutionary in 2012, when most cars still used physical buttons and knobs for basic functions. Tesla essentially turned cars into computers on wheels, with software that could be updated remotely like a smartphone. When the Model S launched in 2012, it didn't just succeed, it dominated. The car won every major automotive award, including Motor Trend Car of the Year. It was the first electric vehicle ever to win that award. Luxury car buyers who had never considered electric vehicles were suddenly putting down deposits for Tesla vehicles. But Tesla's biggest breakthrough wasn't the cars themselves. It was the supercharger network. Musk realized that electric vehicles would never go mainstream until people could charge them easily on long trips. So Tesla built their own network of high-speed charging stations along major highways. This was incredibly expensive and risky, but it solved the biggest barrier to electric vehicle adoption. The supercharger network was pure genius. While other car companies were waiting for someone else to build charging infrastructure, Tesla was creating their own. They gave Tesla owners the freedom to drive anywhere, while making competing electric vehicles less appealing. It was both a customer service and a competitive moat. By 2015, Tesla was no longer just a car company. They were becoming a technology platform. Their vehicles were receiving regular software updates that added new features and improved performance. Imagine buying a car that actually got better over time instead of just depreciating. Tesla owners were experiencing something completely new in the automotive world. The Model X SUV launched in 2015 with Falcon Wing doors that opened vertically. These doors were incredibly complex and caused massive production delays, but they demonstrated Tesla's commitment to revolutionary design. Every Tesla vehicle had to advance the entire industry, not just provide an electric alternative to existing cars. Then came the announcement that changed everything. The Model 3. Tesla promised to build a mass-market electric car for $35,000 that would bring electric vehicles to millions of average consumers. The announcement generated over 400,000 pre-orders in just a few weeks, representing over $14 billion in potential revenue. But promising to build 500,000 affordable cars annually was very different from actually doing it. Tesla entered what Musk called production hell, a nightmare period where they struggled to manufacture Model 3s at scale. The company was building cars in a tent outside their main factory. Robots weren't working properly. Quality control was inconsistent. Tesla was losing money on every car they built. During this period, Musk's behavior became increasingly erratic. He was working over 100 hours per week, sleeping on the factory floor again, and making controversial statements on social media. The stress of scaling production while burning billions of dollars was taking a severe toll on everyone involved. Critics were predicting Tesla's imminent collapse. Short sellers were betting billions of dollars against the company. Traditional automakers were launching their own electric vehicles, claiming they would crush Tesla with superior manufacturing expertise and deeper resources. The pressure was enormous, but somehow Tesla pulled through. By late 2018, they had solved their production problems and were finally building Model 3s profitably. The car became the best-selling luxury vehicle in America, outselling Mercedes, BMW, and Audi, combined in its price category. Tesla had proven that consumers wanted electric vehicles when they were designed properly. The success of the Model 3 triggered a fundamental shift in the automotive industry. Every major car company suddenly announced aggressive electric vehicle plans. Governments around the world began setting deadlines to ban gasoline-powered vehicles. Tesla had forced an entire industry to change direction. Today, Tesla is worth more than Toyota, Volkswagen, General Motors, and Ford combined. They've expanded into energy storage, solar panels, and autonomous driving technology. Their gigafactories are producing millions of battery cells annually. They've made Elon Musk one of the richest people in the world. But Tesla's impact goes far beyond financial success. They've proven that electric vehicles can be faster, safer, and more advanced than gasoline cars. They've accelerated the transition to sustainable transportation by decades. They've inspired thousands of other companies to pursue electric vehicle technology. The company that started in a garage with 2 engineers and laptop batteries has fundamentally changed how we think about transportation. They've shown that startup companies can disrupt industries that seemed impossible to change. They've demonstrated that environmental sustainability and high performance aren't mutually exclusive. Tesla's story continues evolving every day. They're developing fully autonomous vehicles, expanding into new markets worldwide, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with electric transportation. The company that almost went bankrupt multiple times is now leading the transformation of multiple industries. What makes Tesla's rise so remarkable isn't just their financial success. It's how they've maintained their startup mentality while becoming a major corporation. They're still taking enormous risks, still pushing technological boundaries, still challenging conventional wisdom about what vehicles should be. From those early days in a Silicon Valley garage to becoming the world's most valuable automaker, Tesla has proven that bold vision combined with relentless execution can change the world. Their journey from near bankruptcy to global dominance shows what's possible when entrepreneurs refuse to accept limitations and keep pushing forward despite impossible odds. The Tesla story isn't finished. They're working on new vehicle categories, revolutionary manufacturing techniques, and transportation technologies that could reshape entire cities. The company that started with 2 engineers and a crazy idea continues writing the future of how humanity moves around our planet.